Welcome to the ribbon cutting ceremony. Tonight there's going to be two different events going on around this project. This is the ribbon cutting ceremony, more of the formal, let's get the cool picture and here it is and let's start using the trail. And the other part is going to be a little bit more, to me, a celebration, and it's going to be at the Hawk. And at that time we're going to actually unveil the Hills 275 Trailhead IPA beer that was brewed by Farmington Brewery. So that's something to celebrate there. This project took 5 years to actually come to fruition. It started in 2016. Again, I'm going to tell the whole story later, but I'm going to sort of summarize it now. This was a vacant piece of property. Well, not vacant. There was a home on it. It's called the David Simmons home, and the family wanted to sell the home and develop the property. And in order to do that, the city said you can't just do that. You know, it's a historic home. You need to come up with a little more creative idea than that. So the developer that built Wood Spring Suites came in and said, okay, what if we use the home for something else? So then we were contacted, the Historic Commission contacted the Parks and Rec Division and said, can you take this house and move it to one of your parks? And we said, no, we don't want to just move a house to a park and maintain it. So we said, well, what if we came up with a trailhead? There's a trail right here. Let's create a trailhead, make the house more of a business office, and then we can still build the hotel and obviously, you know, create a great new asset for our community. And that's exactly what happened. Great idea, but the Federal Highway Administration and MDOT said there's rules along this trail. And this trail was built in the 70s and was the first trail that was built along the federal highway. They had extra material available, and they said, hey, let's build a trail here. So long story short, they put down a trail, the first along a federal highway in the country, but there was no legal access to park and get on that trail unless you live nearby. So this idea is the first of its kind. It allows legal access to actually get on the trail, a great asset in our community, and to be able to utilize that trail instead of having to get from your house to the trail. So part of that battle was new policy with the Federal Highway Administration. They didn't allow, it was limited right-of-way access for us to even get into this property. It's through MDOT property, so that's another thing that's never happened before. So with the unveiling of this trail, it just opened up the door for a lot of other trailheads to come to an existence. So the City of Farmington Hills, the Planning Commission, the developer, the artists that were part of this project, we wanted to be creative, not just put park amenities out with benches and your typical trailhead stuff. We said let's really represent the community by incorporating art into it. And this first trailhead, let's really be that example. So Molly McNeece created the original artwork for it, and then Ted Hadfield fabricated the sign and really incorporated his work with Molly's. And we've got a great feature here as you come into the Wood Spring Suites development and access this trail. So I would like to invite, again, I said I was going to make this one short and have more of our longer ceremony at the Hawk. So I'm going to invite the mayor up to say a few words, and then we'll invite you guys up to help cut the ribbon.
Trailhead opening on 275 at 5 o'clock traffic. What could be better? So I hope you can all hear me. I was a council watcher at the time that this was proposed, and I want to thank the previous council for having the courage to go ahead and suggest that we build this project as part of allowing for the hotel to be built. It's all part of what we want to do as a community to get everybody active, involved, spread art, beauty, and joy throughout our community, and a trailhead without an access is not a trailhead. So we are really excited that we have the first trailhead access with a bench, and I want to thank all of our cyclists, the community cycling club, for active adults to come out and take their first ride from our trailhead. It's really exciting, and I don't want to short circuit anything because we all really want to cut the ribbon and go drink some I-275 beer.
1, 2, 3. so welcome to the celebration of the Hills 275 Trailhead. Thank you all for being here. You guys are all a part of this if you're here. Either you or maybe a spouse was part of the whole project. So thank you for being here. I'm sort of going to start with the reason why this project came to existence. So in 2013, the Department of Special Services was asked to look at bike trails and loops. Like, how do we create more biking opportunities for our residents? And at that same time, our Adults 50 and Better division came up with an idea to say, hey, let's have a meeting and see if we have interested bikers in the community, and that's where Cycling for Active Adults was born. So we have how many members of Cycling for Active Adults today? 180? Yeah, raise your hand if you're here from Cycling for Active. So pretty awesome representation here tonight. So 180 members this year. So 180 members that residents lead different rides in our community and outside of our community. They even go on trips together. So it's pretty awesome social network of people that now exists because the city said, hey, let's look at trying to create more opportunities for our residents in terms of getting outside and doing biking. So if it wasn't for the Adults 50 and Better division taking charge of that and then you guys participating, it wouldn't be so fun. So along that same time, we started learning that we didn't have a lot of great biking opportunities, so the city started looking at bike lanes and what are some other things we can do. So we're continuously developing that. So in 2016, and this is sort of how the story goes with this project, I was driving along 9 Mile Road and I was on my way home I live in Pinckney, so I live a far way. So I'm like looking at the map before I leave and I'm like, all right, what's the quickest way to get home tonight? And it was 9 Mile. So it takes a long time to get home if I'm taking 9 Mile. So I see this historic property on 9 Mile right before the highway and I thought, man, it'd be cool like if we could access that trail. It was just a random thought, just one night just driving home. So a month later, I get a phone call from Mark Steck from our he's our liaison for our Historic Commission. And Mark said, hey, the Historic Commission has this house and there's a developer that wants to develop this hotel on this property and they want you to take the house and move it to Heritage Park. I'm like, what? So I'm like, I don't think we're going to want to move a house to Heritage Park and have to maintain it and do all, I don't think it's going to happen. I said, where is this property at? And as we're on the phone, he tells me, and I look it up, and it's right off the highway, touching the trail. And I'm like, you're not going to believe this. A month ago, I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if we had a trailhead along this trail? Well, I thought it was that easy, but that was in 2016, and this is 2021. So that's 5 years later. So it took a long time to get this to happen. And the reason being is because going back in the 1970s, the trail was developed along I-275. It was the first one along a federal highway in the country. And during the oil crisis, and I'd like to acknowledge Vincent Ranger over here. So raise your hand, Vincent, from MDOT. So he told me the story, and I've read about it now. So they had extra material, and during the oil crisis, they said, hey, let's just slap down a trail along the highway, and people can ride their bikes. So it wasn't engineered, it wasn't, soil wasn't tested, they just put a trail down. So you can see today that there's some areas that need to be fixed, right? Yeah, I can see people, they're laughing, because I know we've heard. So good news is, just side note, 8 Mile north, so the Farmington Hills area, 4 miles is going to be redone starting maybe this fall or later this fall, spring. So it's going to be 4 miles brand new trail. So the Great Lakes Water Authority is funding that. They're doing an extra pipeline there. So that's great news for our community there. So in the 70s, they had this extra material. They built a trail. The issue is there was no access to get onto that trail. There's no legal access. So even Vincent Ranger, and I think we're on camera here, would illegally park. The guy from MDOT said, I even have to park in the Rite Aid parking lot to be able to access that trail. So MDOT was a real advocate to really get this idea going. So together we met with MDOT and several people in our city, our planning division, a lot of people got involved with this. And it came down to the Federal Highway Administration. And they never allowed access to a federal highway through, it's called limited right-of-way access. They don't allow it. You're not allowed to get onto those trails from any property, any private property, any commercial property, any public property. You're not allowed to get onto that trail through a property like that. You can only get on the mile roads, basically, or where it connects from the roads. So this is a brand new thing. We're making history here. It's never happened. There's never been legal access along a federal highway. So we had to meet with the Federal Highway Administration. They flew in from Washington. We talked about it. We put it in our master plan. So thus, 5 years later, it finally came to fruition because there was a lot of stuff that needed to happen. So we've made history. So our goal is to be an example for other communities to be able to build trailheads along federal highways and provide access for bikers or hikers to be able to park at a certain spot and then go to the next trailhead on the next trailhead, and eventually have places to eat, to go have ice cream, just to have destination points. And that's our ultimate goal. So we're going to work with MDOT and communities around the 275 trail to be able to develop that and again spread that model across the state of Michigan. So this trailhead actually accesses Lake Michigan, Lake Huron, and even the UP. So there's a network of trails now that exist. And this is an access point to be able to do that. So it has dedicated parking and its own official beer. Yeah. So if it wasn't for Farmington Brewing Company, we wouldn't have that. So they stuck with us for 5 years of this idea, and they hung it right in there. So I thank you, Jason, and his wife's here with him tonight, so thank you. So this beer is going to be available at Farmington Brewing Company and at events at the Hawk, and eventually we'll have it available more often here at the Hawk. But when you come to a concert, you can grab a Hills 275 trailhead. So I hope you enjoy it. So I want to just bring a few people up. That was a big part of the project. So I'm going to start with Mayor BARNETT. So come on up here. And I've got some parting gifts. So this is all I'm not going to make you hold your glasses up, but this is a cheers to. And you can drink every time I hand out a t-shirt. You can just wait. So you might want to wait. So thank you, Mayor and Council. Would you like to say anything? Yeah, trade it out. Okay.
This could have been a different story. What Bryan left out was, when I was mayor in 2003 to 2007, there was a different project that wanted to go in that spot. It's called a drill head for an oil company that wanted to do slant drilling under I-275 on this property and put in a pipeline and drill into the subdivision across 275, that square mile which has the zip code 48167 in Farmington Hills. That would have made a very interesting but non-drinkable beer.
Would have been a stout.
It would have been a stout, yes, very, very thick, yes. And we said, no, I don't think we want to do that. So we said no. They sued us. And we got a better project, I think, don't you? So I am so excited to know how this story finally ends, and it ends with a beginning of a trailhead system that starts in Farmington Hills and will go throughout the country as the U.S. federal highway system realizes how wonderful these amenities are and how great they are. And since we helped them draft the template for how to allow local communities to do this, thank you very much. We did draft the template. I didn't personally, but Bryan did, and MDOT did, and many others worked with them to get this done. So it is just a beginning, and I want to thank you all very much for coming today and helping us celebrate this wonderful ending to a drilling story and the beginning of a biking one.
Nice. Cheers to that. All right. Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Council, for your support. There's several council members here tonight, and I appreciate, if it wasn't for you guys, none of this stuff would happen. So Farmington Hills is a lot of unique things and a lot of firsts of a lot of things. And if it wasn't for our leadership, we wouldn't have these kind of things. So thank you. So next, representing the Parks and Rec Commission, I'd like to invite Steve STIMSON up. And I believe, what's that? Well, how about you both come up? But the reason why I invite Steve up is because he was one of the secret taste testers of the beer. So you can credit him for this beer. So I want to give you guys a parting gift, and would you like to say it?
Thank you.
All right. So our Parks and Rec Commission was a big part of this. Our Planning Commission, our Historic Commission, our Arts Commission. So you can see that there's a lot of artwork. I'm going to get to that point. I'm going to stay on task here. So I'm going to go to the next on my list. So the developer, Mike HUSZTI and Bryan WINKELMANN. Come on up. Mike, Bryan. Bryan, stop talking while I'm talking. So these guys, in 2016, we sat at a diner table, and I promised them a beer would be made. And thanks to Jason, he agreed to that. So we named the Hills 275 Trailhead beer. So we've been waiting to toast to this for a while. So these were the guys that really, Bryan designed the space, and Mike really came up with the whole concept of being, this whole idea of a hotel being placed there. So let's hear it for these guys.
I have never waited so long to drink a beer. 5 years is a long time to wait, so cheers. And I remember the cold winter day when I first met Bryan Farmer, and he pitched this idea. And I love a good idea when I hear it, so cheers. Thanks, Bryan. All right.
And if it wasn't for the beer, we wouldn't be here.
There you go.
And neither would the project. We really wanted the beer.
Yeah. So Farmington Brewing Company, another plug there, so you're important. Woodspring Suites Hotel, Scott was at the ribbon cutting, but again, they're a big part of this project, and that's where the Trailhead's located. And then I'm going to invite Vincent Ranger from MDOT up here. You don't want to do a speech or something?
No, I'll say something.
All right.
Although, I was eating a
He's chewing. I'm going to buy time. All right.
Thank you. I vividly remember the day Bryan came up to us and pitched this project. Remember where it was? Amway Grand in Grand Rapids. And he pulled us aside and said, "I'm Bryan Farmer." And he told us the idea. Now, it makes all the sense in the world. We can all agree. And I just remember thinking as I walked away, oh my God, this guy doesn't know what he's getting into. It's been very hard. So I've known Bryan for 5 years. I don't know what his nationality is, but I tell you what, he's got some bulldog in him, because at every turn, anytime he heard a negative thing, he's so positive, and he just kept plugging away and plugging away. And I'm so happy that we can be here today to celebrate this. This is great. We've got this trail. It's so hard to get to. Like I said, I said, Walsh College? I don't know, whatever that college is up there in Meadowbrook and 12. I'd park there and ride it. Or maybe at a McDonald's, because there's no easy way to get to it. I live in Royal Oak. I'm not going to ride from Royal Oak to get on the trail. There's no place for me to go. Now there is if I want to ride the trail. So it's a great thing, and cheers to Bryan. He's really done a heck of a job to get to this point. So thanks.
All right, so I went to a council meeting, and the council member spoke up and said, "How are we going to pay for this?" And there's sustainability funds that we were able to pay for what we had to pay for, but the developers paid a lot of money. They really did a lot, and we held them to it. So I really put these guys through a lot, because they were like, "Well, do you really need that?" But so we worked together well. So this project for the city cost less than $20,000. But it actually costs less than $10,000 because I'd like to invite Jillian Hall from Panasonic. So come on up, Jillian. You don't have to talk. So Jillian, Panasonic has been very supportive to the city of Farmington Hills. They've done a lot with our nature center, a lot of projects. So Jillian said, do you need any help with anything? And I said, yes. Like city council just said, we needed to get money for this project, and I need to find money. And we had this great artist that's created this artwork, and we need to fabricate a sign, and we want to make it special. We don't want to just put up a sign that says the name of the trailhead. We want to make it cool. So Panasonic donated $10,000 towards the project, so thank you. And that's not the only project. They've done so much for us, and we really appreciate Panasonic. All right, Ted Hadfield, he fabricated the sign. Come on up, Ted. Oh, he's empty. Bad timing.
Sorry.
Serious. So Ted is with a company called Art Pact, and he works with organizations across the world. Rachel Temlin with our Culture Arts Division really, I don't know, she was here earlier. She's still here.
Back there.
So really she gave a lot of guidance when it came to this trailhead in terms of connecting us with Molly McNeece, connecting us with Ted, and we needed it because it's not easy just to fabricate a sign. You can't, there's no template. You have to come up with it, and then you have to follow the rules of the city and MDOT and everything else. So really, thank you, Ted, for working with us. It was a last-minute thing. He really found out probably, January or February?
Yes, I think
So he really had to get to it quick, and he did it. So if you don't, keep watching this video, and you'll see it pop up. It's amazing. There's 3D and 2D. Do you want to say anything? You can describe the project a little bit, or the sign and how it sort of came to be.
Thank you. It's been a fun project. It's been a labor of love. And what's interesting for me is that I have collaborated with artists my entire life. Never have I collaborated with an artist, Molly McNeece, and met the collaborating artist after the project is done. That's a first, and it was a very interesting way to work. But it's been a pleasure to work with Bryan and Bryan and other folks that kind of directed and made the whole project come together. And my company, who is not credited for this for different reasons, was involved in it, and they really enjoyed the process. They always do. It's a community effort, and we were proud to be a part of it. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so back in 2016, Molly McNeece, I wanted to do some kind of art incorporated into this project. So it was special. It was the first of its kind. So I'd like to invite Molly McNeece up. She donated her time to create this sweet, awesome piece. So I'm going to give, obviously she designed this, she drew it, but I'm going to give her this frame print because it is a really cool project, and I hope she always remembers being part of this cool thing, and she'll always have a beer that was part of it. And so again, thank you, Molly, for stepping up and volunteering your time to do this.
Oh, thank you. I would love to. I'll give you a call. Thanks, everybody. When Bryan called me up, I just loved this project, and I loved the idea, and I came up with the tree, growing the bicycles. And I teach at Southfield High School, and today was the first day of school. And every class I taught, I started with what was going to happen tonight. And I've been dreaming of drinking this beer in my cup that I designed. And when I told people that I designed a beer label, and I think that's the coolest project in the whole wide world. So tomorrow I'm going to be the coolest art teacher in the whole wide world. When I show my kids this, I'm gonna bring it to school and hang it in my classroom. And I'm gonna wear my shirt and show them the pictures I'm taking tonight. And I just wanna appreciate all of you guys for supporting this project and how exciting it is for me as an artist to have this in our community. And it's going to be there for a long, long time. And that just thrills me to see the shirts around town and my design everywhere, especially on a beer mug. So raise your glasses and cheers to everybody and all the teachers who had a first day of school today. Thank you so much.
All right, so Jason, come on up from Farmington Brewing Company. Let's hear it for him, because we're enjoying the beer that he brewed. So, he hung with us for 5 years, and you know, a lot of people don't do that, especially when they're busy. They've got a really busy company going on there. I hope you keep supporting them. They are actually serving this beer at Farmington Brewing Company now, so I know you want to say a few things.
I had the easiest job in this project. All I do is make a beer that you guys want to drink. So, I mean, really, this is a pleasure. It's what I do and I love doing, and I'm really happy to be part of the city that I grew up in and trying to move back to in this project. And the trail is beautiful. I saw it today for the first time. If you haven't been there, you need, pardon me? Maybe. Talk to the lady in a black dress. She's in charge of the family money. No, this has been a great project. We are so excited to be part of this. I cannot wait to see everyone enjoy the beer, more things to come here, something about an archery range, maybe, I don't know. Brian's been just a pleasure to work with. We stuck with each other through all of this craziness the last couple of years, and I'm so happy to see this beer that you guys are enjoying on tap today. For the first time ever here. We're drinking in a high school. I was advised by council. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's just been a pleasure. Really? This is great. Thank you. This is going to the brewery.
Thank you.
This is awesome. Cheers.
All right, so as you can see, they keep saying Brian, but it really took all these people to do this. It wasn't me. It was a bunch of people that had to do all this stuff. So in the end, it wasn't about, again, all these people or me. It's about really like you guys getting outdoors and doing this kind of stuff. It's getting outside, mental health, physical health. We want to provide access to be able to do that. And we need to, again, we didn't have the trails to be able to offer that up. So now we have that access to do so. So please enjoy it. And enjoy the beer, and we'll do a last call. So get one more beer before you leave. And thanks for coming out tonight. Appreciate it.